6 or 7 people now who said that they had experiences with Blake Lively and that they could never go public with it.
So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he accuses Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively of colluding with the New York Times.
Something you might not know about Blake is that she's not just an actor. She's so much more than that. She's a creative powerhouse.
Blake Lively is lying and Justin Baldoni is telling the truth. That seems to be the general consensus. But I really want you to consider this hypothetical situation.
Blake Lively's public persona has always been carefully curated, and her likable, charming, and relatable image has made her a favorite among fans. But as more interviews and behind-the-scenes details surface, it's becoming increasingly clear that there is a massive disconnect between how she presents herself and what's happening behind the scenes. Now, another old interview has surfaced in which Blake discusses the importance of being likable. However, with everything that has come to light about her legal battles with Justin Baldoni, many are questioning the authenticity of her words. Was her likability just another Hollywood illusion? And how does Justin Baldoni fit into all of this? With growing backlash, legal complications, and allegations of power moves, the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni saga shows no signs of slowing down.
Well, a lot of people have been mentioning maybe something happened before this interview that made Blake Lively and Parker Posey behave like the way they did. And I have to say that nothing happens before these interviews, because you have like 10 seconds to go from the corridor in the hotel, sit down, say hello, say your name to the camera, and then they start rolling. So you have about 4 seconds before the cameras.
One of the most intriguing revelations in this entire controversy is the theory that Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Taylor Swift have been entangled in a much deeper Hollywood feud than people initially realized. Some fans believe that Taylor's decision to distance herself from Blake and Ryan wasn't just about Justin Baldoni, it was about something much bigger. If true, this could mean that far more is happening behind the scenes than anyone initially thought. Could it be that Blake's downfall was set in motion long before her battle with Baldoni even began?
We have a clip I'm going to share with you regarding the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively lawsuits that purports to tie together Taylor Swift, Ryan Reynolds, the National Football League, the NFL, some call it the No Fun League. If you watch the Super Bowl, it really wasn't that much fun, but that's because the Chiefs choked a big one. And I'm going to share this video for you right here. Here's the video. I'm going to play the whole thing. I haven't watched it. This is my live reaction to a conspiracy video about what might be going on in the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively world. My guess is this will be a lot of fun, but I really have no idea. Now, I have a special graphic for you here. It's called Conspiracy Time. Ooh, and of course we have one of the greatest legends of my time, Weird Al Yankovic, who is there with his tinfoil hat. Now you might be wondering what a tinfoil hat is all about.
Blake Lively's friendships have been under scrutiny lately, especially as more people who once stood by her side seem to be distancing themselves. One particular story about a reunion with Blake Lively 2 years later sheds some light on her behavior and how her relationships tend to shift over time. If there's a pattern of people reconnecting with her only to be disappointed, it would explain why so many former supporters are now speaking out against her.
Probably like 6 or 7 people now who said that they had experiences with Blake Lively and that they could never go public with it because it will end their careers. Still, after all this has come out, people are scared. And I understand that. And also, when you put yourself out there, you need to be prepared to get criticism too. And I wasn't ready for that 8 years ago. Now I can handle it. I'm okay. And I just felt like it was time for me to share that interview. I haven't been doing so many of these lately, and probably I won't. I'll keep you posted if I get an invitation to do more of these interviews. Since I came out with this, obviously I am not a favorite in Hollywood, and that's just something that I have to deal with. So nothing happened before that interview. There was nothing was said, nothing. I just walked in and sat down. Anyways, that's all I had to say for now. If you have any questions, please just comment below in the comment section or send me a message. I've got so many emails and messages on Instagram, TikTok, and thank you again everyone for being so supportive. You're so sweet and it means so much to me that you're all there supporting me.
The legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has taken yet another dramatic turn, with the leak of a voicemail from Baldoni that is now being scrutinized heavily. Some believe this voicemail proves that Baldoni was unfairly targeted, while others argue that it complicates his case. Regardless of which side you're on, one thing is clear: this legal battle is far from over.
So in Justin Baldoni's lawsuit, he accuses Ryan Reynolds of colluding, Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, of colluding with the New York Times. And I think explicitly it says for months, that they were plotting with the New York Times for months to smear him. And there may be some important evidence regarding that accusation, because you have to remember that Blake Lively filed her civil rights complaint. This was the huge explosion. She filed a civil rights complaint in Los Angeles on December 20th. And then within 24 hours, the New York Times had the scoop. They published the complaint in its entirety, and it definitely looked suspicious, okay? But before December 20th, before December 21st, when the New York Times then reported on it, absolutely no one in the media thought Justin Baldoni was behind a smear campaign against her. This was like a very shocking filing. That came before Christmas. But I was like, I gotta play devil's advocate before I jump into a conspiracy. But no. You named it Smear Baldoni. Do you guys remember what the article was actually entitled that they actually released on 12/21? I'm showing you, "We can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine." So you can see that image, which is original artwork. So that's not something that they pulled from the web. It's something that they asked someone to make for them. And it's pieces. All of these little pieces were pulled in, including the alleged emails and messages. Those are the little triangles that you have there that are from the PR campaign. So they were already working on this explosive piece as of yesterday. Take a listen to Justin Baldoni groveling, is the only way to describe it, to Blake Lively.
I want to start with an apology. Man, reading the second part of your message, my heart sank. And I'm really sorry. I for sure fell short, and you worked really hard on that. I'm really sorry. I f***ed up. That is a fail on my part. One thing you should know about me is I will admit.
One of the most damning accusations against Blake Lively is that she deliberately worked behind the scenes to cut Justin Baldoni out of key projects. Reports suggest that she made power moves to position herself as the dominant force, while quietly removing Baldoni from conversations that directly impacted his work. This revelation aligns with claims that Blake has always been more calculated than she appears, and that her nice girl persona is just a strategic front. If she was truly behind these moves, she may have underestimated just how much backlash she would receive once the truth started coming out.
Every accusation was deeply looked at, investigated, and ultimately documented and overturned by Baldoni and his team. Why did she accuse this poor this man feminist of harassment? Because she wanted to take over control of this movie and all future movies based on the authorship of Colleen Hoover, the woman who wrote It Ends With Us. So it's greed. Now listen, Blake, Ryan, they courted Colleen, preying on her seller's remorse, okay? Colleen Hoover sold the rights to this movie, her book, sold those rights 6 years ago, January 2019. And she got, obviously now, flash forward 4 years later, she's making this movie with Blake, and oh my God, Ryan Reynolds is there, the Deadpool guy, he's so big, this is huge. Boy, wouldn't it be great to have the rights to my future work.
In an unexpected twist, Justin Baldoni recently made an interesting comparison between Blake Lively and a Ferrari, describing the dynamics of working with her and how Hollywood thrives on creative tension. While some might take this as a compliment, others believe it's a subtle way of exposing Blake's true nature. High performance but high maintenance, difficult to manage, and ultimately not worth the trouble.
Something you might not know about Blake is that she's not just an actor. She is so much more than that. She's a creative powerhouse. She's a producer, she's a writer, she's a fashion designer. She touched so many aspects of this production, and everything she touched, she made better. She's just a walking, creative. And acting alongside her was incredible because I got real-time feedback of what was working and what wasn't working. I can only be so objective as I'm the character. So getting to act and play Ryle while she's playing Lily and seeing, if I go too far in this direction, her performance changes in real time because she's so responsive and she's so reactive. It actually really helped me in the directing process, directing myself. She just lit up the screen and it felt like I was watching a young Blake Lively. And at that moment, I just knew this was gonna work. And I just remember getting chills and feeling so excited because nobody really knew how we were going to do this and that there was 2 timelines in the film. It is a heavy film. There were light moments. I mean, every time Alyssa and Marshall are on screen, they're such light characters and they're so filled with joy. And as people, they're so wonderful. So, I think any scene with Hassan Minhaj was just so much fun. Him and I go back and we're very good friends. I think for me, it was acknowledging how imperfect I am and how I've been hurt by the very same system that continues to perpetuate harm. As a boy growing up, I didn't really have anybody to give me that feedback. And so all the feedback that I ever got was from the women in my life, who still are the ones who continue to give me that daily feedback.
Blake has long been regarded as one of Hollywood's most likable stars, but with the legal battles, accusations, and insider leaks coming to light, this image may have been carefully manufactured rather than genuinely earned. Her past interviews paint a picture of someone who is deeply aware of how important it is to be perceived as likable, but now those words are being used against her. Could it be that Blake was always playing a role, carefully managing her public persona to ensure she remained untouchable? If so, then her fall from grace is even more shocking.
One of the biggest challenges for me is the control of my ego.
It's hard, man. You got all these followers, all these likes, all these opportunities,
it's
TV shows, Billboard. Weren't you up on a billboard recently? I think I saw or something.
Thank God I didn't see it if I was.
I think you were up on Sunset, a big billboard of you.
Justin. I don't think Justin. That must have not been real.
It was real.
Ever.
I think it was you with the. I'll join the version.
It was probably one of 7 people.
Yeah, I was at 3 maybe, but yeah.
But I think that I think part of our journey as human beings is the balance between our lower and higher nature and learning how to control it, right? So you obviously have spirituality, religion, divinity, things that are designed to help us come into our higher nature. But one of the struggles that I think we'll always have is figuring out the balance between a healthy ego and an ego that's managed. And for me, the only way I've found to be able to manage my ego is through spirituality. And it's through prayer. It's through communing with God. And really, it's through service. Because the second you're of service, the goal is to take yourself out of the equation. We have a phrase we like to call it. We call it secret service. Would you still do it if nobody knew you had done it? And that's kind of your measure. It's service if you will do it and you don't care if anyone knows.
Yeah.
So oftentimes, I'm going to go do something. I will practice intentionally not telling anyone I did it, because it's a muscle. We go to the gym, we work out.
Absolutely.
We don't go to the gym and work out just because it's fun.
Right.
It sucks.
It does.
But we need it. The same thing goes for service. The same thing goes for spirituality. It goes for, whatever it is we do.
With the Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni case dominating headlines, some legal experts now suggest that a gag order might be necessary. The amount of public discourse surrounding the case influences public perception, and there are concerns that this could impact the legal proceedings.
Blake Lively is lying and Justin Baldoni is telling the truth. That seems to be the general consensus. But I really want you to consider this hypothetical situation, and I seriously want you to consider it if you are a woman, because this affects all of us. Let's say, for example, Blake Lively manages to take this all the way to court and she manages to prove that she was telling the truth and Justin Baldoni was lying. Do you think that the public opinion is going to change to represent that verdict? Do you think that the general public are going to hold their hands up and go, okay, Blake Lively was telling the truth and Justin Baldoni was lying? Because I think that this has gone so far that it doesn't matter now what the court verdict is. The general consensus is she's a liar and he is telling the truth. And so her reputation is in tatters and he gets to continue on with his life as normal. And that was always the point. And I think that that is the part of this that people are missing. The point was always destroy this woman's reputation. Before you say it happens the other way around as well, it doesn't. It just doesn't. Justin Baldoni's own team commented on how easy it was to get people to hate a woman. We live in a patriarchy. We give men the benefit of the doubt and we hold women to such a high standard that they cannot do anything wrong at all without being torn apart. Every single time we answer the whistle, they whistle and we come and line up and ask how we can help tearing apart this woman on their behalf. And like I said, I'm not asking you to come out in defence of Blake Lively, but I am asking you to take a step back and take a look at the system and consider the part that you are playing in this, because it does keep women silent. It does.
If this happens, it could mean that the next phase of this battle will play out behind closed doors, keeping the public in the dark about critical new developments. In an unexpected move, Blake Lively accuses Baldoni and his team of running a smear campaign against her. Some see this as a desperate attempt to shift the narrative, while others believe she may have a legitimate argument. However, given the overwhelming amount of evidence against her, it seems unlikely that this defense will hold up. If anything, it only makes her look even more guilty.
Congrats on your little bump. What about my bump? You've got two nice ones.
And they are kind of bumps, aren't they?
No, not bumps. The lovely lady lumps. Check it out.
Thank you. Thank you. You like the movie?
Everyone wants to talk about the clothes, but I wonder if they would ask the men about the clothes.
I would. I love Jesse's suits and how
that's what I'm saying. His wardrobe was beautiful.
I know.
Corey's wardrobe was gorgeous. Those high-waisted pants.
He's so great.
I wish men wore high-waisted pants like that still.
Me too.
Or the father with his tank top in bed.
It's so good.
It's just like
Did you
that.
catch
You could feel
the
it.
tablecloth on the light in the Italian restaurant when they eat spaghetti?
I didn't notice that. No.
There's so much warmth of everything, you know.
Yeah, it's not just the women that have the clothes. But I feel like the women get the conversation, but it's like every detail with everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's normally my experience. And even people that are portrayed to be really great people, they're just a lot more complicated and interesting and nuanced and caring and thoughtful. And that's always nice, you know, to see that your idea of someone isn't always who they actually are, but be pleasantly surprised.
Well, we're just, inundated with a lot of material. You can be if you have the internet of, reading about these people and thinking that you know them and all that. And it's like the spectacle of that, of what we do as actors, that has risen a lot more in the past decade than ever before. So, yeah.
Blake Lively built her career on being the likeable, relatable, and charming girl next door. But as more interviews, legal battles, and insider accounts come to light, it's becoming increasingly clear that the reality may differ. With new leaks exposing past behavior, former friends distancing themselves, and accusations of backstabbing piling up, Blake's public image is taking hit after hit.
The dive started in my 20s. The dive started around the time I met my wife, 27, 28, and our very confusing early dating life.
Wait, hold on. What do you mean? If you don't mind, what do you mean?
I write about it actually in the final chapter, the chapter Boys Will Be Knights.
I knew immediately. That she was my person. It was like, I just knew. It was like in every fiber of my being that I met my soulmate, and she didn't know. And nobody prepared me for that. Nobody prepares you.
And as Justin Baldoni continues to fight back, her legal troubles are far from over. At this point, the carefully curated persona she worked so hard to build is crumbling, and the world is watching it happen in real time.